Hi, everybody. Thank you for your interest in the Pickerington School's Virtual Learning Academy. My name is Brian Seymour, and I'm the Director of Instructional Technology for Pickerington Schools. And for next school year, I will serve as the lead administrator for the Virtual Learning Academy. So this is our informational video series about some of the changes that we're going to see over the course of the next school year. So this is our last video, video number 4, and this is talking about instructional models. So one of the changes we're doing this year is we're really looking at adopting research-based blended learning approaches. So we have found and identified 8 different strategies of different types of blended learning models that we are going to work into our classrooms, and this will show you a little bit about what the classrooms may look like, what the differences between synchronous and asynchronous instruction might look like. We won't go into great detail with these, but just to give you a little bit of an idea of what these courses may look like. So first of all, here are 2 different models, and these are probably going to be some of the more common ones that we'll see here at the beginning. The first one is alternating days. So what I would see is we would see a difference between synchronous and asynchronous instruction. So what do those words mean? Synchronous is when we are communicating or we are doing the exact same thing at the exact same time. So a good example of that would be a Google Meet type session where the teacher is instructing and we're working back and forth together. Asynchronous is more students are doing their own work at their own time, at their own pace. So independent work. Even group work could sort of count as this type of thing. So what we may see is you may see an alternating day model. This would mean Monday, Wednesday, and Friday would be synchronous, where the teacher would be interacting with them more. And then on Tuesdays and Thursdays, it would be more group type work, but the teacher would still be available through office hours or through a Google Meet link if the kids needed to check in or needed more information or more needed additional help with the assignment. These are going to change throughout, so don't think, please, that a teacher is going to stick with one model and stick with it through the entire course of the year. The best practice with this is that teachers figure out which of these models works the best for their educational outcome that they're trying to get. So a science class will look different than a math class, which will look different than a art class. So really just trying to think about where we're at with what the course is trying to get out of. The other second model there is mini lessons versus independent work. So mini lessons is the teacher meets with the entire class for maybe no more than about 15 or 20 minutes, does a mini lesson, maybe a mini lecture, a mini direct instruction type thing, and then the students go and do work for the next 60 to 90 minutes based on what was just taught to them during that mini lesson. The teacher would still be available during on Google Meet, so if the kids needed to check back in, they would still be available for that. And then with this, the teacher can then start to, once they know their students well and know their different levels and their abilities, they can be able then to differentiate these different groups. So students that are higher in this area could meet with a mini group, and then they meet with another group, and then another group, and so on and so forth. So we're really getting down to that idea of personalized learning, which is one of the major goals for Pickerington Schools. The next couple models, we have flipped classroom. This is also a model that has worked really well in the buildings, but flipped classroom is basically I, as the teacher, instead of doing direct instruction or doing lecture during that synchronous time, I would record those videos. I would be able to, kids would then be able to watch them whenever they want during their asynchronous time, during homework time, what have you. And then during that actual face-to-face time with the teacher could then work with each individual kid or work with small groups to then be able to work on whatever they're struggling with that topic. The other piece there, we have a couple on science, a few things just working on projects and how do we do larger scale science activities and things like that. So the first one there is called guided lab time. And these are students may work on projects independently or in groups. So maybe what the teacher does is she puts them into breakout rooms in Google Meet. And then the teacher can then pop in and out of the Google Meets breakout rooms as you need to, pull the kids back at any point in time, push them back into their breakout rooms. So they're still getting that group work and still trying to work through some of those lab type pieces. In addition to that, you also have one that's called integrated lab time, which is typically if you have longer projects or projects that may take a couple days to accomplish. So typically this begins with a synchronous session. The concept or whatever is then taught. The students then complete the practical component either individually during an asynchronous time or maybe in small groups in a breakout session. And then at the end of the class, all the kids come back together again and there's a discussion that talks about those different things. You've also got capstone and independent learning. This would be more for our high school level students. So it's some type of a big project about the individual material that is being learned. And then the last ones are a project-based course. So really looking at what are some of these real world problems or challenges that our kids face that could be able to do this. Most of this is asynchronous. Teachers would do brief check-ins throughout the course of the week or the unit. And then to be able to make sure the kids are on pace, make sure they answer any questions that they may have. And then the last one, once again, would probably be at high school. I'm not as big of a fan with this one because I still feel our kids still need that direct instruction. But this would be self-directed courses. So a student would basically be, quote unquote, on their own for the course. I don't think we're there yet, but it's an option that we could potentially have as we start to differentiate courses into the future of the Virtual Learning Academy. So with that, that's just a really brief overview of some of the different instructional models that you'll see. Like I said, these will change. These will look different at different grade levels, and we're really trying to use different models that have research base that say that they are effective to use in the classroom to be able to make sure that we're doing what's best for our Virtual Learning Academy. We've learned a lot about how to teach virtually this past school year. And our teachers really want to do what is best for our kids and give them the best opportunities. So using these research-based models will really, truly help with that. So lastly, if you have any questions at all about the Virtual Learning Academy, we have created an email address. It is vla@plsd.us. All those emails right now are coming directly to me, so please feel free to email me if you have any questions at all about the Virtual Learning Academy. I'll be more than happy to answer those questions. And once again, thank you for your interest in the Pickerington Schools Virtual Learning Academy. Please have a great day. Thank you.